a very dramatic story. You gotta listen to this one. Justice Department is laying out some details about this crime involving some big name rappers, Gucci Mane and 2 other industry pros who were apparently kidnapped and robbed, according to the Justice Department, by Pooh Shiesty, by Big 30, along with some others. A total of 9 suspects have been arrested. So here's what we know. These DOJ officials say Gucci Mane was lured into what was a fake business meeting in Dallas at a music studio that turned into what they called an armed takeover, where Mane and these others were held at gunpoint. This is back in January. They got robbed of their Rolexes, their cash, their jewelry. At one point, Gucci Mane was even basically forced to sign a release from a record label. Priscilla Thompson is joining us now. It is wild stuff, Priscilla. What else happened?
Yeah, Hallie, unbelievable, made for the movies kind of stuff. So Pooh Shiesty is signed to Gucci Mane's record label. So this business meeting was scheduled in January at a recording studio in Dallas, and Pooh Shiesty shows up with 8 other people. You mentioned Big 30, also his father was among those with him.
I'm on a Euro tour, like I said. I'm in Prague, going back to Paris tonight. But for everybody in my DM, Rose, what you think, how you feel about the Guwap Pooh Shiesty situation? I don't like it for either side. You know what I'm talking about? Guwap most definitely didn't deserve that, and I don't homie Pooh Shiesty, but this one, be educated and understand. In business, you gotta negotiate, man. You gotta negotiate. If you were signed for 100K and now you got 10 M's on the table, it's time to negotiate. This how we do this. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody win. Let's go. That's how I gotta go, my nigga. You can't muscle your way out of no business. It don't go that way. And I ain't just talking about on the people's side, but on the other side, the blitz gonna come. You can't run from it, homie. That's the way it goes. Negotiate. It's time to educate. I wanna see young hustlers from the South win. I wanna see it. That was the time I got Gotti and Guwap on the phone together. Us 3 on the phone, nigga. And it ain't nothing to discuss. It was no disrespect. It was no raised voices. Rose just wanted to plant that seed. And I understand one phone call may not fix all the situations, but you want to plant that seed where niggas may be able to move forward one day, get some paper one day. The CMG 1017 tour one day, that was Rose mindset. And I wish nothing but my homies the best. When it come to business, let's negotiate. Niggas can't take the streets to the do. Get a life sentence with that nigga. Let's get to the B's.
What's good, everybody? Hope y'all are doing good. Rick Ross decided to step in and speak on this. And I keep seeing this story blowing up everywhere on major platforms, to the point where people are even calling Gucci Mane. Like, hold up, I've never heard anybody say his name like that. But they're pushing it like, yo, you gotta talk about this. Whether you tapped into hip-hop culture or not, they want you locked in on this story ASAP. Now, what Rick Ross really touched on was the contract situation, because that's what all of this comes down to at the core. As more details started coming out, those rumors had already been heating up months ago. But Pooh Shiesty allegedly tried to pull a 1995 type move to get out of his deal with Gucci Mane. And let me be real with you, the game doesn't work like that anymore. Just keeping it all the way 100. This ain't like the old Death Row Records days, when things weren't documented, stuff stayed in the shadows. Now everything is tracked, recorded, and watched. And on top of that, you are already dealing with federal supervision. There was no way at all you were walking away from this clean. And to be clear, what Rick Ross is really saying is think long term. Play the long game. I get exactly what he's saying. Because making moves like that, that's not a real option. For dudes in that 18 to 26 age range. Trust me, when you get older, you start seeing it differently. You realize real quick this was never worth it. And honestly, it was never going to end in your favor. What's wild to me is that out of all those people involved, nobody stopped and said, yeah, we're not getting away with this. Because it was never going to happen. Not with witnesses around, not with cameras everywhere, not with locations being tracked in real time. And even if there wasn't an ankle monitor, they still know exactly where you are. Cell phone data alone will tell the whole story. If that phone was on you, they already got you mapped out. So at the end of the day, this is one of those situations where you really gotta think before you move.
Nah, hold up, that's not entirely true. I'm not about to sit here and act like I was in Pooh Shiesty's shoes. But let's keep it real for a second. I'm talking all the way real. I wasn't there, I didn't talk to anybody. I'm not even in the industry like that. But just looking at the history of how this plays out, I'd assume that contract probably wasn't the best deal, and he most likely outgrew the value of what he originally signed for. But once you put your name on that dotted line, that's what carries the weight. That's when they can make you sit and wait it out. Now, I don't know what kind of back and forth he had with Gucci Mane behind closed doors, but I'm pretty sure it reached a point where Gucci wasn't just letting him walk. And people need to understand this. When you try to buy your way out of a deal, they're not charging you what you signed for. They're charging you what you're worth right now. If they signed you for 30 or 40K, you're not getting out for 60K. Let's be serious. Depending on how hot you are and what they invested, they might negotiate a little, maybe cover their losses and double up, then call it even. But in Pooh Shiesty's case, listen, he came home on fire. His momentum was crazy, and his ceiling was even higher. There was no way he was getting out cheaply or in a small number. He would have had to drop a serious bag, and they still would have structured it in their favor. That's where masters and ownership start coming into play. Now, yeah, people are going to say you should have read the contract. They always say that afterward. But let's be honest for a second. From the outside looking in, it didn't even feel like Shiesty came in chasing rap like a full-time dream. It wasn't like he was locked in the studio grinding 8 hours a day. But what he did have was a sound. He had a flow, and that authenticity was undeniable. And if you go back and listen now, those early records hit differently. That energy was raw and unfiltered. But this situation, yeah, it's getting messy. Big 30 is involved, his father is involved too. And they're saying Big 30 even recorded the contract signing. Not for clout, but as proof it actually happened. Like, nah, we got this on tape, he signed off for real. But now you've got footage at the studio, footage at the hotel, and everybody is placed at the same spots at the same time. That's the kind of evidence that's hard to shake. Just keeping it all the way honest, this is going to be a real fight for Pooh Shiesty. Appreciate you for watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel.